This is the next generation Ford Ranger Raptor. We're currently in the Ford Design Studios in Melbourne, and this is a prototype model, and we're getting a sneak peek of what enthusiasts can expect in the next generation Ford Ranger Raptor, and it's very impressive so far. This thing promises to take off-road performance to the next level. First things first, the engine. There is no more 2-litre bi-turbo under the bonnet of this thing. There is a 3-litre petrol twin-turbo V6, and that makes 292 kilowatts and 583 newton meters. To put that into comparison's sake, that is 86% more power and 16% more torque than the current Ford Ranger Raptor, and it's got the possibility of even halving the 0 to 100 acceleration time, maybe even into the 5-second area. We'll wait to see exactly what that is, but it's definitely impressive. There's a different look with this car obviously as well. We've got the new design going on here. It's very similar to what you'd have in a Ford F-150 and similar to what we might expect in the Ford Everest as well. It's got what they call a C-clamp design. That's the daytime running lights there. It's all LED, and in this Ranger Raptor, it's a high-spec model. Obviously, you've got matrix LED headlights there. Of course, you've got the FORD right across the grille. It's got a big presence, this car. It's still super wide. You've got a wider wheel track. You've got big suspension underneath there. And there's something really interesting going on. I'll just walk over here and show you. The tyres here haven't changed from the current generation Ranger Raptor. It's around a 33-inch tyre. It's a BF Goodrich KO2, really good for off-road, but the suspension underneath has changed. It's still Fox. It's still a 2.5-inch diameter shock absorber, but it's now called Live Valve, and that is pretty much an adaptive damper for off-road use. It's similar to what you get in a high-performance street car or a road car, but this is all about that off-road control and capability for jumping and all that sort of thing. It's got a lot of stuff going on here in terms of technology. These shock absorbers are connected to the car. It's monitoring all sorts of things like suspension travel, throttle, steering. This car will even have the ability to reduce the amount of squat when you're accelerating through these shock absorbers. It is really the next level in off-road performance. Really excited to see what this thing is like off-road, because the current Ranger Raptor is really good. This might be even better. Like I said before, this is a prototype model, so we're not actually allowed to open the doors at the moment during filming, but we've had a bit of a dig around on the inside here, and once again, it's quite impressive. You've got a massive infotainment display there. That's 12 inches in size, and it is in the portrait orientation, which is a little bit different to what you get these days, but it's a massive jump up over the 8-inch system you get in the current Ranger. You've also got a digital instrument cluster up here. That's 12.4 inches in size. You've also got cup holders, wireless charging, all sorts of things going on here. There's a new seat design. It's got different materials, and Ford tells us it's been designed, or inspired I should say, by jet fighter pilot seats, which is kind of interesting. And there's a new shifter design as well. Ford initially were going to put a rotary dial into this for the shifting, but people told them they didn't like it, so they went back to a more traditional design, and it looks pretty good. But we're not able to drive this car just yet today. We'll have to wait and see how that goes in the future, but so far this looks like a very promising four-wheel drive ute. A few more points to make about this Ranger Raptor. We know that this engine is the 3-litre twin-turbo V6. It's actually built in America and then sent over to Thailand, where this Ranger Raptor is made, and it's also got active exhaust systems there. So you've got a couple of modes you can run through. You've got quiet, you've got normal, there is a loud mode, then there's also a Baja mode, which actually cuts out the exhaust. It turns into a straight through system. It sounds very loud apparently. We haven't heard it yet, but they've told us it's quite boisterous, and it's only meant for off-road use only, but I'm not sure many people will actually honour that. I reckon you'll be hearing a few utes getting around in the fully loudest mode. A few other things around this car which are quite interesting. It's got front and rear differential locks. You've still got a Wattslink live axle at the back here. It has been retuned slightly to accommodate the extra power and the different sort of running gear of this Ranger Raptor. There is still a 10-speed automatic gearbox there as well. You would have known that from the current Ranger Raptor and a bunch of other Ford vehicles as well. And one more thing about this engine. I'm kind of banging on about the engine a lot, but there is a lot to talk about here. It's got an anti-lag system, which you'll often find in race cars. It was even developed in Formula One back in the 80s. But it's a system that allows the turbos to keep spinning when you're off the throttle. It's only available in Baja mode, which means off-road usage only, but it allows the engine to stay on the boil effectively all the time when you're off the throttle, and it's more responsive and more powerful, which means this car is probably going to leave most other things in its wake, but we'll wait to see what it's actually like when we get to test drive it. I'm not sure when that's going to be just yet. This car is only a prototype. There's still a fair amount of time before it hits the streets. We haven't been able to get behind the wheel of the next gen Ranger yet, let alone this Raptor, but I've got to say I'm really excited to get behind the wheel.